Hey everyone, Elle here. So today we are going to talk about winter hair care tips and awesome products to use in winter. First things first, so this is a third or fourth day wash and go, I can't really remember, using the Kemet Biologics conditioning ghee as my leave-in, and then I also use my Fairy Tales gel on top with a little bit of Kemet detangling ghee on my ends for some extra protection, some extra buttery goodness. But we will talk about those products in just a second. So, winter hair care. I would like to put the disclaimer on before I start talking about this. If you live in a more mild climate, like LA or something like that, you may not need these tips as much just because you don't have like a super harsh winter. I know when I used to live in LA, I didn't have to worry really about winter hair care as much unless I was visiting my family because I mean, really, it was like 50 degrees. Like our dew points were fairly normal, probably like in the 40s or 50s. So it wasn't something that I really had to worry about. But moving back to the East Coast, the winters are much more harsh, and it's really something that I concentrate on every winter to ensure that my hair is moisturized, especially having color treated hair, which can, dry out easier. So I want to make sure I am maintaining that moisture in my hair, and I'm not like, I don't want to have to do my hair every other day or like deep condition it like every other day just to make sure it's moisturized. So let's talk about winter. Okay, so there are a few things that make winter hair care a little bit more difficult than a more mild season. I know summer hair care is like a completely different beast, especially if you're dealing with humidity. But winter, it's drier outside, you have harsh winds coming, and pretty much the dew points can be really, really low. If you are not aware of what a dew point is, basically it is a measurement of moisture in the air. It is more accurate than humidity because humidity is relative between dew point and temperature. Dew point is more of an absolute. So basically, if you are working or living in an area where the dew point is less than 30, if you're using a lot of humectants, it's going to draw moisture out of your hair and make your hair even drier than it already can be because it's dry outside. I know the other day, I look at WeatherBug quite frequently, so I know what my dew point is, and our dew points were 9, and that's just disgusting and gross. I was like, oh man, I really need to make sure I'm moisturizing my hair and making sure that my hair is protected from those winds, protected from that harsh winter weather. So first things first, when you're concentrating on cleansing your hair, I want to be very clear. You don't need to use a full shampoo that's potentially drying in order to fully cleanse your hair. You can use a cleanser that has cocoa betaine in it. It does cleanse silicones and it gets out most of the gunk in your hair. So if you're using something like Diva Curl Decadence No Poo, that's one of my favorites. And then the new Oyin Handmade Co-Wash, those are going to be my staples this winter because I know both of those are moisturizing and also cleansing. I don't want to use anything on my hair that is going to potentially dry it out. Also, make sure you are deep conditioning your hair as needed. I've been using the, I don't even want to pronounce it wrong, but the caramel treatment from Etai. So that one has been really good for me. It's honey, molasses, bananas, things like that, or something that's super rich in your hair that you can use to hold that moisture in. You may want to do deep conditioning sessions that are a little bit longer than what you would usually do just so it can absorb that product and you can have that long lasting moisture. When you're talking about leave-ins and winter, I do not like to use any leave-ins that contain glycerin because glycerin is a humectant and that will, if your dew points are low, that will draw that moisture out of your hair. If I do use anything with glycerin, it's going to be a heavy butter. So it has that mixture of butters and glycerin. So then you're still protecting your hair with the butters in there. So it really doesn't have as much of an effect. So these are two that I have been using right now. The Kemet Biologics Moringa Tree Conditioning Ghee. This stuff is amazing. It has Ayurvedic like botanicals and coconut oil, and it's just so lovely on your hair, and it's so moisturizing and it lasts forever. So this is what I've been using on my hair, and it also has, let me see, like amla, brahmi, nettle leaf. It's just like this botanical thing, burdock root. It's really lovely. One of my staples, I did mention this in my Black Friday video, I buy The big size is actually 33.8 ounces of the Oil Hairdo, and this is a staple for me all winter. Today I use it to fluff my hair out, just to add a little bit more moisture, and then also, you know, because my hair gets flat like when you sleep at night. So these are two really delicious ones. When it comes to your styler, also, again, don't want to use glycerin. So Horizon You Go Curl is an amazing one. I have a video on that. I will link to it in the details. Basically, it's just aloe vera, nettle, horsetail, chamomile, marshmallow root, citric acid, xanthan gum, grapeseed oil, yada yada, but it does not have any of that stuff that is really going to make your hair kind of weird in winter. I also use aloe vera gel a lot of the time. Sometimes I feel as if aloe vera doesn't have enough hold for me in summer because it's very light and it's very moisturizing, but in winter it works really well. This is just like a generic brand that I think I got from Safeway, but Fruit of the Earth is my absolute favorite one. Other gels that you can use, the Camille Rose gel, Kinky Curly works fairly well in winter. That used to be my staple, like if I was traveling for the holidays and I was in LA. I kind of stopped using Kinky Curly in LA, but when I would come home, I would use it because it was a really good gel for me in winter. Let's see. What else? When you want to talk about cream, if you want like a moisturizing cream, make sure they're thick. I like these really thick like creams that are mixed with like a lot of butters. So here we have Kemet Cocoa Tree Detangling Ghee, and this smells like chocolate. This also smells like chocolate, probably because they both have cocoa butter in them. They both have cocoa butter in them, so they smell like chocolate. And then this is Oyen's Whipped Pudding. So these are two of my winter staples. I put these on my ends because, or you can put it all over your hair as well, but a lot of the time I put these on my ends to add an extra layer of protection from the weather and also your hair rubbing against your clothes. I know in winter, obviously, like I'm wearing a lot of sweaters, I'm wearing like thicker materials that can potentially cause single strand knots and split ends. So I want to make sure that my ends are properly protected. And this is going to add that layer of moisture with the sealing. So it's not just a butter. I'm sure you all know that butters by themselves actually do not moisturize hair. It acts more of as like a sealant, like sealing in moisture. So I like to use those together just to make sure I'm having both those aspects covered. Okay, isn't this fun? If you have any questions, please let me know. I know I'm going over a lot of material. These are a lot of products. These by no means are these the only products you can use. These are just some of my favorites. If you have more and you would like to share them in the comments, please do. This is another product I use. So I think sealing is very important. I did a video on hair care and I called it like the 3 C's, and it was like, I forget what that was. Oh, coating. So the last C was coating, right? So basically sealing your ends or sealing your hair to keep moisture in. So this is Camille Rose Growth and Shine Balm, and this is another one of my favorites. It's very thick. It does not come out. It's like it's also based in cocoa butter. So I actually like cocoa butter better than shea butter. So I use a lot of products that have cocoa butter. And this one just works really well for putting on your ends or fluffing your hair out, or even like if you're doing twists, you can add a butter on top to make sure you're sealing that moisture in. If you are not a huge fan of butters because you find them to be too thick on your hair, if you have finer hair, I would hit up just a loose oil. This is Mammoth Hair Oil, and this is one of my favorite oils. It has coconut, olive, castor, avocado, almond, jojoba, and argan. And I think I added some eucalyptus oil to this just because I like eucalyptus oil and also rosemary oil. Those are two of my favorite essential oils. But that is really good for, you know, just putting on your ends, it's sealing your hair. And you can also oil rinse more in winter. If you are not familiar with oil rinsing, see, I'm just gonna link to another video in here. Oil rinsing is basically before you apply your conditioner, you just do, it's almost like a hot oil treatment, but you only leave it in for a couple minutes and then you rinse it out. So then you're also adding another layer of protection to your hair. It helps smooth your cuticle as well. So those are my winter tips. Those are my products. In addition to the tips like sealing your hair, making sure your hair isn't getting caught on things. A lot of the time I do take some time to put my hair up at least a couple times a week. I wear my hair down a lot, but I really don't like to because it's so windy. Like you can see the trees just blowing everywhere and it's just so unfortunate. So you just see that, and I really, really want to keep my hair away from that harsh wind because you can do mechanical damage to your hair just from the weather, especially your ends, because they're the most, it's the oldest part of your hair. They're very sensitive. So you want to make sure you are keeping those ends intact. Rosemary oil also helps strengthen your ends, so you aren't dealing with a ton of split ends and single strand knots. But it's definitely important to make sure your hair just isn't rubbing on everything every single day. I know a lot of people protective style in winter. I personally do not, unless I'm just like wearing a bun for a week or so, but mostly my hair is out all winter. If you're going to wear a hat, try to wear something with a satin lining. I know one of my favorite beanies is a satin lined beanie, so you're just not having that harsh cotton rubbing against your hair all day. That's also something that you don't want, and that can cause breakage, at your roots, and that's not good at all. And there you have it. Those are my winter products, my holy grail products that I like to use in winter, as well as my winter tips, keeping your hair moisturized, keeping your ends protected, making sure you're not rubbing your hair against a whole bunch of gross, harsh things, and making sure that you're just using the most moisturizing products you can and staying away from those humectants if you live in an area that has very low dew points because you don't want to draw that moisture out. So I think that's it. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. Thank you as always for watching. Have a wonderful day and we will talk later. Bye-bye.